the land and the sea and the water where we take our nutrition and live in the environment from.
This leads us to sustainability in the food sector, doesn't it?
Yes, it does, yeah.
Yeah, and that's a massive thing.
Yeah, and it's a massive thing indeed, so that we can, as predicted by, my life science colleagues, and that we may run out of food in, 20 years maybe, 30 years, if we are like this on this planet, that climate change, also we see that is real, and it's also can affect our, both living but also the food environment, because some of the crops stop to grow on increased temperatures, and you need to think, okay, can I grow some other alternative crops? Will the soil be right for this? Because it's not for granted that you can plant anything, even temperature is high. And then second, will people eat it? Because it's also consumer science. And this also comes with you're able to make this kind of decisions. You cannot be an expert in all this area, so able to make this kind of decisions only having the data and right models to forecast this kind of situations. And data needs to be available in all of these areas. And ideally, one should integrate it on using interoperable shared standards, like the ones based on World Wide Web and on semantic web and ontologies. And this is also a movement called Fair Data, which says, okay, we should do exactly this. And then the data would be integratable for any purpose. So if you want to say, okay, does this development in agriculture impact on disease XYZ, you can press one button and check it, and not do 10 queries to different stakeholders who may want or not want to share the data with you for this purpose. So we have a long way to go on this interoperability to solve this kind of problems. And these are very, very important problems.
Yeah, and especially with the soil being depleted at the I suppose it's a lack of sustainable farming approaches as well to our environment. But they have made an effort with the blockchain, with the approach of tracing all the food from the farms it comes to fork, and that was kind of more around supply chain issues. But do you think we'll see kind of a big change from global food imports to local, to much more focus on sustainable local food farms?
Yeah, I think people start to get more and more sensitive about this, especially in the Netherlands. So many people start from the going into growing their own tomatoes in the garden to all different kind of things. Or all consumer already, they want to know where is this fruit coming, or can I buy maybe in the season some local food instead of some exotic fruit which had to fly off from the other part of the planet. So people get more sensitive of this, because also often this local food is also more healthy, not only for environment but also for you, and it's cheaper. So it's really, it's like, I think from different, and it's also again, I'm not a social scientist, but I was working a lot with social sciences, and my feeling about this, or opinion, that it would not be solved from one angle. We all have to work together as consumers, as governments, as industry, as farmers. So it's important. Everybody needs to put their chip in it.
Yeah, so that's like AI can help accelerate this.
Yeah, and AI will accelerate good practices and best practices, and it's up to us, to humans, to decide what is the optimal way to go in the right direction.
And this, of course, leads to another industry. You're talking about the food. There is regenerative medicine. It's colossal with stem cells and all these fancy terms that are coming. But I think there's more. Prevention is always going to be better than cure. So even though that is a whole industry in itself that's tied in with the longevity industry and the wellness industry, I think we're seeing a shift also back in Ireland. We have a colossal database of different apples and apple trees, yet you can't buy local. It's really hard to get a local supplier into the supermarket, so the people have to demand this as well. It has to come from the people, and it has to come from the government kind of has to make the changes, but the changes have to come from the people. I think in the Netherlands they're a lot more progressive for pushing for change, faster by insisting on stuff in their locality. You know, they take it a little bit more. They're more practical with the policies, I think. So what can we do about the education for the new health economy? It's encompassing longevity, wellness, food, soil, precision medicine. Where do we go from here? We have to, the need is there, Anna, to educate, really, isn't it? It's the first step.
Yeah, absolutely. And this also, we live in the world of very complex problems which really need expertise coming from different sides. And here the point is also to deliver specialists which are able to understand both technology but also the domain sides like food and health. So for example, that data science education, which appears at many universities, including ours, is often implemented to do this kind of jobs, so that to educate people who could be bridge builders and work in different with technology and also different applications of it to solve complex problems. So, for example, we have in Wageningen, where I also teach data science master for food and health, where exactly we combine students get educated on technology, how to implement things, but also they get knowledge about health and food and how to combine these topics to solve complex problems, which require also integration of data coming from different domains. And this is very essential skill. Yeah, so this is exactly what we also do at universities, because this is what also the employers asked very often. Yeah, because often you don't need to develop maybe new complex solutions anymore because they're developed, but how to use these complex solutions with complex domain problems, this is often a skill which is not everybody has it by automatically. Yeah, so it's also people need to help with this, and this is also what companies look for, and universities we do, and also otherwise people have to learn it on the job, and it's not so easy often.
Yeah, so it's definitely a new economy, isn't it? With AI, leading the way, it's going to be an AI-driven health economy, isn't it?
Yeah, well, it will be AI-driven or AI-supported in or almost all sectors, yeah. I believe, yeah. And health also, yeah. And this is also one of the areas which will be request a lot of attention, yeah, because it's very crucial area.
Especially with the next 20 years of, with the environmental issue with food.
Yes, yeah.
We can only expect, if things don't change, we can only expect more disease,
Yeah, that's, we have big risks if it goes not in a good direction. It's many risks ahead.
Okay, all right, thanks very much, Anna.